Okay, let me clarify one thing. I wanted to avoid Rwby Vol7 for a week. I said I wasn't paying him a cent, and I was going to watch it a week later. Give it time to cement into people's minds, and people can just be like, people will calm down over time. That was my genius plan. Then my mate Jason, who's watched it pretty much as it's gone live because he's still paying Rooster Teeth for the first membership, he calls me up, wakes my ass up out of bed, and he's just like, dude, you need to watch the first episode. And I'm like, well, I can't. So he sends me his login details and his password, and he's like, watch it on my account, get back to me when you're done in roughly like 20-25 minutes. And I was just like, okay. And we've had our big talk, and I can see why. But first, before you come to the realization that I am, of course, going to shit on what I think is wrong with this beginning, there are some good points to this first episode. And I'm going to be very lenient on certain things that did happen as well, because I pretty much predicted that they would fucking happen. Let's go through a few good things. Straight off, the special forces. We're given the idea that pretty much the huntsmen who go to Atlas Academy will graduate, and I think it's either the top tier ones or maybe all of them. They integrate into the special forces of the military. So the special forces is basically the huntsman graduates. And I'm coming to the assumption that Winter perhaps is their leader, which is why Ironwood values her so much. But we get to see some of the other special forces. That's who it's not kidnap. They get arrested for reasons that, to me, from a military country, this is something they did right. They get arrested for all the right reasons. Because they're looked upon as civilians who are not legal huntsmen who are using weapons in an open environment, and two drunks who are Elysian citizens have been attacked. So they got arrested based on the correct premises. So I'll say, yeah, the special forces. There was two things wrong with that scene. Two things wrong in that scene that just had me like fucking slapping my head. Like, I don't know how it got so wrong. One thing's a bit of a nag. One thing's huge, is that the special forces, they don't recognize Weiss, and I was just like, this bitch is basically, she's like the princess kind of this fucking kingdom in a way. Bloody high tier royalty, the number one business in your kingdom that makes everything possible. She's the daughter of it, and you don't recognize her. And most likely people should be looking for her by now. She's missing. How did they ignore her? Oh man, wow. That was a big fuck up. The other screw up, and I don't get it because Elysians are still very much dependent on the robots, despite the fact that the robots fucked up in Volume 3. They got hacked easily. So the robots are an identifiable weakness. I'm not saying that you should get rid of them, but perhaps you should update them. Better coding, make it more of a challenge for, who's the mystery person? It's what? We all fucking know it. It's not that friggin' hard. That's not gonna be a plot twist when Watch shows up and goes, I hacked your robots. But I'm just like, yeah, they're still very reliant on them. It's like, oh, hey, we arrested these people, leave it to the robots, and we run away. And I'm like, you're supposed to be special forces. And these are illegal entrants into your country during a friggin' military blockade, causing trouble with advanced weaponry in your country. And you just like, leave them to the robots. We got other shit to do. And Weiss is one. So that's good and bad. Good and bad. I'm not shitting on it completely. I am frustrated at certain points, but I'm trying to justify why I am frustrated with certain points while giving them compliments on what they did with certain things. So I approve the special forces. I just think they made some mistakes with the scene. And I know the Rwby fandom, nothing's perfect, of course it's going to be fucked. And I'm like, well, obviously you haven't seen a perfect scene ever in this show, because apparently everything has to be fucked to some degree to balance out the positivity. What else? Oh yeah, the big return, Penny. And I'm not even angry. Like, in my rewrites, I've had grim human hybrids as the main theme of the show, pushing Salem. So I always thought, like, the idea of Pyrrha coming back as a grim hybrid to use against Rwby and Jean would be an interesting thing. With Penny, it's even less a surprise because she's a fucking robot, man. Like, the biggest plot hole you could have in this is who the fuck got her memory? Like, who got her aura? Like, even if she had an aura storage facility in her body, and her aura was trapped in that, it's just the shell broke. It's like, who took the time? Because it wasn't Ironwood. Ironwood didn't recover it. It wasn't an Elysian student who was along with Penny. It wasn't that useless bitch who recovered it. So I'm curious, who recovered her aura from her body and brought it to Atlas when Beacon was grim-infested shithole? That's something I don't think that Rwby is gonna mention. I'm not. I don't actually care with the Penny's creator, who I don't give a shit about skin color or whatever. I don't. The thing that hit me, I was like, I'm not surprised Penny's back. I'm not surprised. She's a fucking robot. Could have rebuilt her. Could have gone multiple ways. Could have been Penny come back, she doesn't know who the fuck Rwby is. Perhaps because she doesn't have her aura. But this one, she's the carbon copy of Penny. And the only weird thing that I'm gonna... Two weird things. Two weird things with the Penny comeback. The fact that she jumped off so suddenly to go defend the city. Well, if there are other problems in Mantle, and Mantle is in a constant state of anarchy, then I don't have a problem with her fucking off really fast. I'm just surprised by the lack of emotion in that scene. The other thing is, Penny was the reason that the fall of Penny and Pyrrha are the reason that the fall of Beacon happened. It was that essential scene that triggered it. And it's broadcast across the world. And it could be said, because the hacking of the robots took place after Penny's death, that there is a possibility that if Penny was online, she would have been hacked as well. There's no reason to suggest not. This has nothing to do with aura and soul. It's just the fact that conflict with the cybernetic aspect of her that could override her body functions. So I'm just like, rebuilding Penny seems stupid. Because from all the Elysians that had the event televised, the Elysians lied. The higher-ups, they lied. She's not a real girl. She was a robot posing as a real girl. And she's the reason Beacon fell. So having her be the symbol of saving Mantle is kind of dumb when she was the fall of Beacon. On the other note, this I actually paused it when I was watching it, and I went and made tea and something to eat, because this just frustrated me. When you think of the level of technology in the show, aura transfer technology is probably the peak of Elysian technology, and it's not something that should be out in the open and like, where you could argue it after the fall of Beacon, it should be out in the open, but it's not like viable and accessible. It's the type of technology that is so at its pinnacle, and and with Ironwood knowing about it, and with the fact that the Illuminati with Ironwood and Osprey and all that relied on this technology should be kept secret in the floating city. The advanced aspect of Atlas, Solaris, it should be hidden in that city as one of the most secret technologies they got. Instead, the guy who invents it lives in fucking the poor mining city of Mantle on the streets. And you're just like, what? This fucker with the most advanced technology in Atlas lives in a shithole. You want me to buy into this garbage? Really? Oh, so am I surprised Penny's back? No. Do I care that she's back? They better animate her properly. I mean it. They better animate her shit properly in a fight scene. And just predicting, in this whole Atlas arc, you're only going to get one Penny fight scene. Don't expect multiple ones. She's... and given the lack of emotion in the scene that she was brought into, I don't see much happening when she... I'm not going to feel sorry when she fucking dies. She's a robot! They can just rebuild her again! That's the problem with bringing her back. It's instigated that you can do it multiple times. So, it's like, when she does die again, and she will, because Atlas will fall, I'm not gonna feel sorry, because they can just rebuild the bitch. Okay. Something else they did right. Hey, the Elysians, and this ties into the Special Forces, they actually just pointed it out, the Elysians, they're just like, hey, you flew a ship into our city, you didn't register with us, it went missing, and then you landed with weapons. You broke all our laws. There are laws in place. They recognize this. So I must ask, and I must honestly ask, because this isn't a good cliffhanger. This makes the cliffhanger from Volume 6, and if you can even call it a cliffhanger, seem even dumber. Because Volume 6 ends with, Manta 5, welcome back. Elysians welcome this ship into their bosom. And all they had to do... This is where Weiss comes across as a massive fucking idiot. Because she started all this. She starts the entire episode off as a fucking idiot. They say, Manta 5, welcome back. They're welcoming you in during a friggin' blockade. You should have flown that ship to Solaris, landed, put your weapons down. Guards, we don't have clearance to be here. It's important that we see your general. We have important military news from Argus for him. We're sent as representatives to get this information to your leader. It is important. They would have been arrested. They would have reported to Ironwood of the information, and they could meet Ironwood and bring him up to terms with the situation. That is the cleanest way to continue Volume 6 into here with logic. Instead, Weiss is like, oh, I escaped this place. I hate my daddy. I don't want to get caught. Let's go to Mantle. We're going to go to Mantle with an Elysian ship, and we're not going to clarify with the military what's happening. Why are people surprised the Special Forces showed up looking for what could be illegal immigrants, invaders, weaponed invaders? And then when they get arrested, do you honestly feel sorry at all for Ruby Ranger Crow? Do you honestly feel sorry when you broke the law to this fucking extent? And then they don't fucking realize that Weiss, no. I'm sick of saying good shit about this episode. This is fucking dumb. Oh, and that's not the best bit. That's not the best bit. The fairness, discrimination. Humans work in the mines as well. So whatever shit the faunus go through in those mines, the humans go through it as well. So there is no discrimination. Humans and faunus work in the mines getting treated like shit, poured, paidly, the same. There is no discrimination. The White Fang should never have fucking existed. This show is fucking garbage. Fuck you.